Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are live again for the 2025 hurricane season. I'm Casper. Kylie will be joining us shortly. She's currently taking care of a couple things before she jumps on in here. Today is the start of our official seasonal coverage. We always go live for the Hurricane Preparedness Week series. This is something that means a lot to us, and we want to make sure that everybody is informed and prepared for what the upcoming season will bring us. So, without further ado, I am going to switch over here real quick. And Kylie's got us a PowerPoint presentation all set up. And we will go through, and I've got everything over there on the browser as well. So, Day 1, National Hurricane Preparedness Week. Today, May 4th, 2015, is Know Your Risk, the Water and Wind. The first step to preparing is knowing what to prepare for. In this presentation, we will cover how to determine potential risks at your home. Your potential risks are storm surge, freshwater flooding, winds, tornadoes, rip currents, and high surf. All of these are potential risks from hurricanes. Finding your flood zone. Now, knowing your flood zone is imperative to understanding your risks in a tropical cyclone. The following resources can be used to find your flood zone. And we have Flood Smart and the NOAA Flood Exposure Map. I have those links up on the browser when we get back out of the PowerPoint presentation here. And finding your evacuation zone. Storm surge evacuation zones are a good metric to determine your risk of storm surge flooding. It is also vital information for developing an evacuation plan, which we will cover later on this week. And Hurricane Strong, as we can see here, I've got that up, and they have all the evacuation zones as well. Identifying structural risks to your home. Identify if your home has any potential structural risks that may make it more vulnerable to hurricane damage. Do you have storm shutters? Are your doors and garage door hurricane proof? These are only some questions you should be asking yourself, but they are vital to determining your risk should a hurricane strike. And then tomorrow we will have preparing for before hurricane season. Now, I'm going to bring us back here to the browser. And, that's not what I wanted to do. Kylie's got a new mouse, so I got to make sure I don't break anything. All right. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, I was looking for my jacket, but turns out all of the laundry I own is in the washer.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I'm really cold, so that's real
I'm sorry. So, our Hurricane Preparedness Week, as we can see, this is our social media plan for the week. We will be live at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time every night this upcoming week. Today, May 4th, Know Your Risk, Wind and Water. As you can see here, they always have the National Hurricane Center, and NOAA really puts out a very comprehensive package of preparation and information. So as we can see, we've got the hurricane preparedness and all of our themes for this upcoming week. Know your risk, wind and water. Now, here is where things get a little different, because if you don't live near the coast, you're obviously not prone to storm surge, but you are to wind and freshwater flooding. You also have, our rip currents, and that's something that we're really going to try to hammer home this year. And the rip currents have been a unfortunate fatality marker that we've seen over the last couple years that keep increasing. So we want to try to get out ahead of that this year and make sure that people understand how to identify them and what to do if you're ever caught in one. And if we consider our threats, storm surge, that's obviously the water that is being wind driven and pushed by a hurricane up onto land. This can, in some areas like we've seen with Ian, Helene, we got over 15 feet. Same thing with Michael. And then, of course, everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people remember Katrina with its 28 feet worth of storm surge. So storm surge is a major component in hurricane landfalls and should be treated with the utmost seriousness. Flooding itself. Now, the freshwater flooding is becoming more and more of a problem. We've seen, obviously, tremendous amounts of freshwater flooding in the portions of Carolinas due to Hurricane Helene. We also seen it in Tennessee and Ohio, so please, Virginia and everything. I don't want to leave those folks out that took major hits, as well as Georgia and Florida. But the freshwater flooding can occur in even the smallest systems. You don't necessarily have to have a named storm to get tremendous amounts of flooding. We have seen that just in the Midwest over the past couple weeks. So freshwater flooding can occur even without some kind of big, tremendous hurricane landfall. And your freshwater flooding, if the storm is moving slowly, your freshwater flooding risks increase dramatically and exponentially. So the forward speed of a landfalling system is going to have a lot of determination as to exactly how much rain and freshwater flooding you may see during the duration and after the duration of the storm. Our hurricane force winds, those are self-explanatory. Those are winds 74 miles an hour or greater, and those can loft items, debris, you name it. So it would not be recommended to be out in those hurricane force winds. That's where shelter in place comes into play, if not evacuation as well. Now, as we've seen with Milton this last year, and even Beryl produced a little bit of a tornado outbreak as well, tornadoes with landfalling tropical systems are very possible, especially in the northeastern or the front right quadrant of the storm. That being said, some of these storms are very quick to spin up and then spin down. So it is imperative that you have the abilities to receive warnings from your local National Weather Service office regarding any type of tornado warning that may be issued for your area during the landfalling of a tropical cyclone or hurricane. So, and our rip currents and rough surf. Now, again, this is something that we're really going to try to hammer home this year. As far as being able to identify those and what you should do when if you're ever encountered with one. And you don't need a storm anywhere near the United States to create rip currents, especially on the Atlantic seaboard. You don't have to you could have a storm hundreds and hundreds of miles away, and I will show an example of that as and the wave activity and action reach the shoreline and create those rip currents. So if we look here, they've got a bunch of links provided here in today's theme. So what we're going to do is take a look here at the coastal flood exposure map. And there's a couple things that I really want to point out. And by following this link, if you take a look, we have coastal exposure to our flood hazard composite. But the big thing that I wanted to bring this up is our FEMA flood zones. Now, if you look, and I really want to highlight Florida in particular here, and though I will zoom out and show everybody else that there is quite a few areas that are not necessarily up and along the coastline to where we see our flood zone risk. But Florida in particular, for the folks here in Florida, if you look at these inland areas, you're not near the coast, but you are in a flood zone or flood plain. It is highly recommended to take a look at flood insurance. Just because you're not on the coast does not mean that you can't get inundated by water. And by taking a look at this map, even if let's see, we'll go to Bartow here and we'll continue to zoom in. And if you notice, though, it's not really kind of pixelizing itself very well, but it gets down to the street level. So you can figure out whether you are in a flood zone or not. So folks, even if you're inland, does not necessarily mean that you are safe from the water. Please make sure that you find out if that is a case for your area. Now, the National Hurricane Center has also issued storm surge maps and storm surge risk maps. Now, for folks in Florida, this is going to be similar to the Know Your Zone graphic that is provided by the Florida Department of Emergency Management. Well, now the National Hurricane Center and NOAA has come out with basically a Know Your Zone for the entire region. As we could see, I'll zoom out, and it even also covers the Dominican Republic, getting into Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and also portions of the Yucatan Peninsula and Central America. They've done an excellent job with this. Shout out to those folks that have put all of this information together. Now, what we see here, red denotes 9 feet above ground at its maximum level. So you would need a storm to hit at the proper angle, and this is what you would see at its maximum surge levels. Now, if we raise this by 1 category and a category 2 storm, and I'm more concentrating on the Gulf Coast here, folks, just so we can get a little bit of a zoom, I will come up here and we will take a look at the Atlantic here in just a moment. But if we take a look, this is category 2. Notice how much of the red we see and the penetrating of some of these blues and yellows. Blue represents less than 3 feet above ground. Yellow represents 3 feet, greater than 3 feet, but less than 6 feet above ground. And orange represents 6 feet above ground and less than 9 feet. And red, obviously, that's 9 feet or higher. So just by a category 2 storm, depending on the size of the storm, depending on the overall width of the wind field, we could see great amount of surge. A great example of this would have been Hurricane Ike back in 2008 that made landfall here into the Galveston, Houston area. It was a category 2 when it made landfall, but it produced an unbelievable amount of surge. And for the folks who may remember that, it directly impacted the fuel prices throughout the United States due to the shutdown refineries in the petroleum region here in Texas. So a lot of things can have, significant impacts, and we don't need it to be super, super strong. If we take a look at the category 3, as you could start to see, especially here on the west coast of Florida, we have tremendous amounts of surge that could push well inland to many, many residential and inhabited areas. Same thing goes for over here in coastal Alabama, Mississippi, especially Louisiana. They are extremely storm surge prone, especially when it comes to a major hurricane, and getting along the Texas coast as well. As we could see, a lot of these reds are showing up, and even a lot of the yellows and oranges are starting to penetrate much further inland. And a lot of these places are inhabited, folks. If we take a look at what a category 4 storm brings, now we're getting into some really, really sombering looks here. And we've seen a lot of major hurricane landfalls recently, especially across the Gulf Coast and Florida. Take a look, folks. This is significant, and hopefully we don't see a Category 5. But in the worst case scenario, this is what we're looking at, to where the water is driven way inland, especially in parts of Florida, and getting way up here into Louisiana. You could potentially put all the way up to the I-10 corridor underwater. And drive a great amount of seawater, well over 9 feet into urban areas of Houston and, New Orleans, Tampa, Miami. A lot of these places are vulnerable. If we take a look at Jacksonville, poor Jacksonville would be completely underwater. So now let's go back to the Category 1, and now we're going to kind of try to get up along the Atlantic seaboard. So as we could see, there's a lot more topography up here, but there's also a lot of inlets, and they are vulnerable. If we take a look at a Category 2, if you notice down here, due to the concave shape of the coastline, the southeast portion of the United States is highly vulnerable to storm surge, especially coastal Georgia and the South Carolina region. It is also well known getting up into the western portions of North Carolina, and especially into the bays and inlets up here into the mid-Atlantic and New England areas. Surge is a big problem, and with Superstorm Sandy that we've seen, we can already see with a Category 3, and I'm going to have to zoom in on this. You could see penetrating deeply into the areas of the southeast here, into Georgia and South Carolina, causing significant impacts here into North Carolina as well. But watch what happens when we get a Category 3 up here into portions of the New England states. As you can see, we don't see a lot of, stretched in yellows and oranges like we see because of the topography of the region. What we see, though, is a lot of reds. And that is quite unfortunate. Now, Category 4, it's going to be hard to get a Category 4 up this far to the north, but it is not, I would say it's not, it's not impossible to do. We would need it to ride the Gulf Stream and, have a certain time of the year. But as we could see with the Category 4, it is tremendous amounts of surge. And then, obviously, Category 5, we're not going to be dealing with Category 5 up here. And as you can see, they don't even cover the Category 5 up this far to the north, due to the fact that it would be almost impossible to bring a Category 5 up this far into the latitude. So that's very truthful by them. Now, our rip currents. As you can see here with the rip current, this is what a rip current looks like. You will see breaking waves out here into the open waters, and then kind of a clear slot. And as you can see, they placed a lot of water dye right here on the shoreline, and that water dye is being pulled out and removed away from the shoreline. Well, what is occurring is the water is pushing up, and it's got to go somewhere. So if you are ever caught in a rip current, you need to swim parallel to the coastline. As you could see coming back here, there's only a small area to where it is going to try to draw you offshore. If you try to swim against this current, you are potentially going to tire out and then unfortunately become a statistic. But if you swim parallel to the shoreline, the water will actually be pushing you back towards the shore and assist you in getting back to land. That's why this is so important to know what to do in your rip currents. As you can see here, the escape left or right, just not straight. That's all you have to do. Now, I have specifically selected August 16th, 2024, this last year, where we were dealing with Hurricane Ernesto out here in portions of the Atlantic. Now, Hurricane Ernesto, the center of the circulation, is located right here. Now, as you could see, we have the propagation of all the waves, and here we go with this new mouse, Kylie. We have the propagation of all the waves heading towards land.
To be fair, I did keep the other mouse.
Yeah, I know, but your brother stole it.
He keeps stealing it.
So, when we get the wave action and activity coming perpendicular to the shore, that is when we are going to see the increase of rip currents. As you could see, Ernesto was located hundreds of miles away, was north of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, south of Bermuda, but the waves were pounding the east coast of the United States and causing issues. And we did lose people to Ernesto. Now, this hurricane eventually made landfall into Bermuda, but the United States had fatalities. Never even got close. So we really need to hammer home and, kind of share the knowledge and education regarding the rip currents and what it may entail. Now, for finding your evacuation zone, if you were to click on the link provided by the National Hurricane Center, back here, right here, finding your evacuation zone, it is Hurricane Strong. It brings you to this PDF file. Now, this PDF file has all of the counties that have, evacuation zones. So, please feel free to use these resources to plan an evacuation zone. And we'll go over that a little bit more, telling people, showing people how to make plans and stuff like that. Now, the Hurricane Strong and Flash.org, I cannot stress this enough, how valuable and how informative this website is. They go through a lot of information, from safety to build a kit, resilience, insurance, and helping your community into service. So this is a huge national organization that is associated with NOAA and the National Hurricane Center. So a lot of information at flashhurricanestrong.org. You can find a lot of information there. You can also find a great amount of information at ready.gov/hurricanes. Or is that backslash? It's backslash. Right? Oh, that's /. Okay.
It goes from the bottom to the
So you read it left to right.
The left side is further behind. Yeah.
You read it left to right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it is ready.gov/hurricanes. And as you could see here, they have a lot of information as well. They also have plenty of information that is involving things other than hurricanes as well. But a great amount of information that they do provide and offer here on their website. We also, with one of our nonprofit partners, we're in the process of creating and helping out with a thing called new.iamopen.org. And this is work in progress, so please, work with us, folks. Lori's in the process of trying to get all this put together. But right now, the work in progress is Florida, and I'd like to give everybody an idea of what this is going to look like. As you can see, we have a breakdown of the counties and the cities that are within the counties. And then if you look here, county map, calendar, EMS, police, just everything that you could possibly imagine. So this is, again, work in progress. A lot of things are coming online as we get closer to hurricane season. So please, like give these folks a follow. Lori should be in the chat. If she's not, go to I Am Open.
She's here, yes.
Okay. Hi, Lori. And give them a follow on their Facebook. And if anybody is willing to help, we've got volunteer options as well for all of us. So as you can see here with Lifeline, our other partner, Lifeline Disaster Response, we also are looking for volunteers. So Zello mods, research, spreadsheet, data entry, there's plenty of things that we need help with. So if anybody ever wanted to, give a hand and everything, please, by all means, come join us, help. We're looking to make a community of this. And, with our new duck kind of theme and mascot and logo and everything, be a part of the flock, be a part of the family. So another thing that I would like to go over real quick is our seasonal forecast. This is the Barcelona Supercomputing Center website. This has a lot of different entities and organizations that give out their seasonal forecast. What we like to do, instead of depending on just one individual forecast, we like to take the average of everybody. Right now, we are looking at 16 named storms. We do get 9 hurricanes. Now we're down to 8. It was 9 just the other day. Now we're down to 8. So 16, 8. And I believe our majors are still holding at 4. So yes, 16, 8, and 4. The NOAA and National Hurricane Center has not given out a date of their seasonal forecast, but it is expected probably somewhere May 20 something. They won't wait till June the 1st, but they will wait until we get closer to the season. Dr. Klotzbach has a new, from Colorado State University, has their updated forecast coming out on June the 11th. So this particular website will change with updates as we go forward throughout the year. So if you guys want this website or anything, please feel free, let us know. We'll share the link and everybody can come and monitor it also. Also today, we have our Tropical Weather Threat Society YouTube page. Now, we have created this just today. If I don't know if anybody can share the channel there into the chat, but we are going to upload this video to the YouTube afterwards. It has been kind of difficult to find because we don't have anything there just yet. But eventually, when we achieve the goals that YouTube has set out for us, we will then also be going live on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, speaking of which, I actually did fix that. We can go live on YouTube. We just have to get it set up through Streamlabs switches.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So maybe tomorrow or sometime this week.
Sometime this week, we'll have a YouTube cross-stream set up.
Okay, yeah. So if folks want to join us over there on YouTube as well, we would appreciate it. We also have a Zello channel. I've got the QR code here. So even if you wanted to, come back afterwards, or if you guys want the link, just please let us know. We have the Lifeline TWTS channel. This is a combination channel with the Lifeline Disaster Group, and we use this for daily updates on the weather. I am in there kind of as much as I can. I'm quite busy right now, but I do come in every morning, give an overview of the United States and what weather we are going to be seeing. And then as we get into the tropic season, we will also then be providing updates. And this is a good spot if you ever had any questions that you needed to reach out to us. This is going to be an immediate way to get in contact with us. And also, our partner, Lifeline Disaster Response Group, they also have a Zello channel. So if anybody is interested in helping with the disaster response portion of it, please just join the Zello and key up and let us know who you are, where you're from, and what you would be interested in assisting with, and we'll get you to the right people for sure. And last but not least, tomorrow it is Prepare Before Hurricane Season. Tomorrow we are going to go over how to develop an evacuation plan, how to assemble our hurricane preparedness kits, getting your insurance checkup and your documents, your possessions, all in one safe area, creating a communication plans with people outside of the hurricane zone. It is nice to have friends and family in and around where you're at, but you need to communicate your plan of action to somebody outside of your zone. That is critical. So this way, the communication network to that individual is not lost. So they can become a point of contact and know where you're going and when you should arrive. And last but not least, strengthen your home. So we'll be going back to Flash tomorrow and coming up with some very good ideas for everybody. So with that, that's about all that we have here tonight. I would like to thank everybody that has participated. We will again be live tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. to go over preparing for hurricane season, and every night this week. Our regular issuance of tropical outlooks from the National Hurricane Center will begin first thing in the morning on May the 15th. So a lot of our posts will start to occur on then, and we'll have our regular seasonal coverage. Right now, I don't see anything out there. So with that, have a wonderful evening, everybody. And from us here at the Tropical Weather Threat Society, we will talk to you tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.